remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
It is really difficult to draft against Falcons right now, but that is exactly what BetBoom has to do right now. I will say, though, yesterday, if yesterday is anything to go by, they did a good job.
They did it yesterday.
I mean, they were prepared, Jenkins, for that one.
But it was difficult. Like, Skeeter...
Could have easily gone in the direction of BetBoom. I mean, I don't expect the drafting to be easy either.
No.
10 seconds
Because what we saw yesterday that you guys both now talked about is the fact that when you open the second, like you open the second phase as the second pick team, and I think both Game 2 and Game 3, there were kind of steals going on, like with the Lifestealer opener, and in the third game, it was Sven opener out of the phase, because I think it can be very telegraphed what you want as the first pick team later on, because you have to ban 2 heroes, then the second pick team gets the last ban into the pick. So I'm actually looking for potentially more of that to happen today. But I do feel like so far, BetBoom have been the best team to come up with like a pre-game strategy of how to draft against Falcons.
Yeah, I agree.
They also have their Miro summons heroes that they've been playing recently. The Beastmaster looked great today.
5 seconds
And sure, the Lycan hasn't had that much success, but it's also something that you have to think about because BetBoom have been drafting more towards getting a surprise pick on Miro in the last phase, in the last few days.
And both teams are really prioritizing these like unique team-specific heroes. Falcons grabbed arguably their best hero with Shadow Demon, and BetBoom is like the team that is the only one that picked techies as a whole, but they still look really good on it. So having those little specific picks like the Helm of the Overlord offlaners is just a really nice.
Lanes that he has no business winning and completely shutting down the enemy carry just by, you know, blowing up from fog and killing them and punishing them in that level 1, level 2 window. So it wouldn't be surprising if the follow-up pick comes out here, something like a Centaur to play with the techies.
I'm the other hero I'm also looking at potentially. It's like, so Mirana is still open. Both teams have played it a lot. I would also say with a lot of the bans that are currently going on, I think Sven should be on the radar for kind of both teams, right? There's no Lifestealer, no Slar, no Enigma that you have to play in later either. That's kind of the heroes I'm eyeing, at least for now. I mean, BetBoom will have the ban into the pick out of phase, so it's kind of up to them.
But there's still the Mars and Centaur that are still open in the draft, and I feel like if you take the losing either a Mars or a Centaur,
I agree.
So either you trade strong offlaner for strong offlaner. I don't think you could just take your position 5 here.
BetBoom could ban the Mars and pick the Centaur, because I know we've seen a lot of SD Mars from Falcons.
BetBoom teams turn to pick.
Or they leave it, because I also know that, I mean, there's still the CM, there's still the Mirana. There's a lot in the pool. There's still an Undying. If you're anticipating the Mars coming out, it kind of blocks the strength offlaners, which is pretty much all of them, or makes it feel less comfortable.
I just don't have worries for Amar. Like, even if he's against these counters, he knows what to do. He might have a slightly disappointing lane, but he's always going to recover with it.
We did see him give First Blood for the first time yesterday. I think it was against Undying. As a Mars.
But did he recover?
Yes.
So they go for the safe 5 pick that Falcons would have also potentially liked grabbing without revealing much about their draft. So I think this is a safe position to be for BetBoom. They can't necessarily pivot as well, but they've got catch between these 2 supports. They've got solid laning, so I think it's a good place to be in the draft.
Still a Batrider available, actually.
And I think this is quite surprising, if I'm being honest. I think what BetBoom are saying now is they want their overall last pick for Miro instead of picking his offlaner early on, and they're content giving away the Mars or the Centaur.
Because of the summons heroes that they can get him. Yeah, I agree. They're feeling comfortable. Even in that Lycan game that they lost, he was top net worth coming out of the laning stage and for like most of the early game. So I don't feel like they're going to chalk that one up to the Lycan being bad.
I wonder if they'll ban it later, because it is quite effective against Shadow Demon. Like, you don't have to worry about the ulti at all, pretty much. Not surprised they picked the Sven. If BetBoom picked it, then they're already against the Shadow Demon, which isn't great. So Falcons set themselves up very nicely. to get the hero that they have an insane win rate with. Like, they are so good at being ahead on Sven and then using him in these little crucial moments to blow up a hero that shouldn't be killed. We saw it yesterday, the Kunkka, it might have been the lower bracket series or something, but if you can kill a Kunkka in the first like 3 seconds of a fight,
and breaking that is like Falcons has covered their bases in terms of the Sven counters in this game. Banning the lifestealer obviously helps as well.
Remaining.
Are you comfortable picking this Beastmaster so early with Mars still in the pool
5
for
seconds
Falcons?
remaining.
I mean, I guess they're mainly wanted for like to help the carry-to-carry matchup, maybe, because you're gonna lock down the Sven and his BKB, but this is a very like double-edged, I would say, matchup. But like, it's not like Beastmaster hard counter Sven just because he has the stun. Because yeah, I think Falcons, they're gonna look to close the phase with like any hero that can go in and jump, like you're saying with the Mars. I think that would be a pretty chill one.
That's a really good pick on the Void. I was thinking when the Beast comes out, if I'm Beastmaster, the last thing I want to play against in the game is a mid Bat Rider who can run at me with travels at like just in time for when I want to run at their towers. Like you sit in a lane as Beast and Bat is the easiest hero, just running and killing him over and over again. The Void with the time dilation as well as the Chronosphere, you can actually show up to these fights and kill a mid Bat. I would still look at the potential flex if BetBoom picks a mid that Bat is good against. They did it yesterday. It went really well.
I feel like a lot of this game is going to be whether or not Void can Chronosphere Shadow Demon. In some games, it's effective if you can catch him. If you can't catch him, and the SD gets to outplay you by disrupting allies or Void himself, the game gets complicated. So that's definitely something I'm going to be watching in team fights.
Yeah, the good news for Void is there's a lot of follow-up damage for this Chrono in the double supports of Mirana and Techies. It's not that he won't be able to kill these targets, but it is of utmost necessity to go on the Shadow Demon.
Yep.
We've seen this matchup a lot throughout this tournament, and it's always like, oh, you think Void's a good hero to jump the backline, but often Shadow Demons just position themselves in ways that they never get chronoed.
I could see Falcons like still look for the Mars that you mentioned, Mira. Even maybe, I know we haven't seen much Tidehunter, but Tidehunter has always been he's incredible when Beastmaster comes rising up in the meta as well. Lanes well against Void, so I can see that. Or maybe you go for like the mid pick for Mr. Malrine, something that can jump. I feel like both teams will need to look at backline jumpers for the reasons you also mentioned with the SD is super important, like being able to get into the backline on potentially Void, Mirana as well is very high value.
Good puck game still, honestly. There's no instant disable. It's not easy to chrono a puck either.
Are you worried about time dilation or Chronosphere if you're playing puck?
Not so much the chrono, but yeah, the time dilation is a bit annoying. But they go for the Primal.
I think Primal has a good win rate as well in this tournament.
And they don't have last pick on Falcons. Primal's great. Malrine invented this like wave cutting Primal Beast bullshit.
The non-laning mid.
You never lose lane because you don't
10
lane.
seconds
Can't
remaining.
argue with that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm very surprised with how these drafts progressed.
5
I mean,
seconds remaining.
if you told me that these Amar heroes like Mars and Centaurs would not be in contention for the majority of the draft, I wouldn't have believed it given how Group Stage 1 and 2 went, but it feels like these teams just tripled down in draft preparation. Like, if Falcons had gone for Mars here, they already have their idea of a solution in the Void versus Mars on lane, and they think that they have enough follow-up damage. But going for the Primal Beast hero to hero makes a lot of sense. I think this is a really great hero at dealing with Beastmaster, actually. The Trample is a really good tool at clearing these summons early on, offsetting these pushes, which a lot of Beastmasters do. I'd go as far as saying Primal Beast deals with these pushes much better than a Mars or a Centaur ever would.
No, you're spot on. I think the Primal is so good against heroes that need to tempo up the game, like these Lycans Beasts, so I do like it for that reason, actually quite a lot on Falcons. I would also say that Marine is probably the best mid-Primal that we have currently in Dota.
Also, just the Sven versus Beastmaster lane matchup, I think that Sven is one of the better heroes for lane versus Beast. He doesn't struggle as much as something like an Agi carry would because he gets the extra Warcry armor, he has a stun, he has ways to get on top of the Beastmaster and kill the boars.
It's definitely Sven favorite. Maybe this is like where maybe Save on the techies can like offset the matchup. I'd say it's like one of the best laning supports from the 4 position.
What build do you go on Beastmaster versus Sven? You guys know what skill build do you do? Is it like axes or is Boar kind of spooky because he can kill him?
I feel like on this meta, you pretty much have to go.
That's kind of what it looks like.
You can go like 2-4-0 if you really want double axes, but
I suppose you get the Boar anyways because Sven always has to stun the Boar first. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Canonically.
I think like since you're almost always going to play around the Dom 2, you're going to have to go more build no matter what. Like you pick this hero for tempo.
It's also like Sven eventually needs to like ping pong between the lane and the jungle, and when he does that, you need to like prep the tower at least a little bit with the summons, so you will want to have them. I mean, Falcons are just... I wouldn't see anything wrong with the Amar Mars, which is a very bold prediction, of course. Somehow that is still in the pool.
BetBoom just cover their bases here. I think Tide actually would have been a great offlane pick if they decided to do the pivot, because it's a very simple counter initiation to BetBoom's Chronosphere, and it lanes quite well versus the Void. The Huskar, needs no explanation. Mallory loves to tease this hero.
I'm looking if there's anything else that like stands out would be better than the Mars.
I mean, if they really wanted to dumpster the lane, I think a Viper would do very well. But that's like a very one-to-one matchup thing and not really focusing too much on the game. But it is Amar. He'll probably just ask for...
I don't love the volatility of a potential Viper pick, personally.
10 seconds
I can see it work, but I think you are risking quite a lot, which I feel like they're not in a position where they have to do that.
I feel like it's not individually tanky enough to not just get Chronosphere every time and killed. Like it's a tanky hero, but...
Forgot about Doom.
Yeah, I forgot about Doom.
It eats the Dom creep. It's very good against Beast, and it does perfectly fine against Void and lane. You have a lot of damage over time. You're going to farm. He's going to farm. Doom farms faster.
Are we a little
later?
Are we a little worried about the damage output inside of BetBoom at this point?
I think there's a significant amount of damage coming from the BetBoom supports early on, and whichever mid pick that comes out here is going to probably be a turret type of hero that lanes against Primal Beast, a ranged damage dealer. So it should be fine. Looks like there's a lot of damage going into the Chronosphere. This Doom actually makes the Void's life very difficult. Even though the laning stage is the Void, the second he gets Doom and dives this hero, it's going to be very difficult because Void is the means that BetBoom are going to take the fight. And I already think that Sven has a good lane versus Beastmaster. It's not that Beastmaster is going to get off and hit every single timing. So Void having a good lane was very important for BetBoom's draft.
Like Void is always the type of hero where eventually in the game he like becomes the strongest, but Falcons have pretty good answers. Like Doom is one of the best offlane answers. You Doom him, obviously he's going to have a hard time playing the fight. I would say that this time around, Falcons have a better draft than BetBoom. I feel like yesterday, BetBoom had the upper hand in at least 2 of the 3 games.
Yeah,
but I just like Falcons lanes and mid game a lot more this time around.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they got most of the heroes that they want. I think the last pick Pango is good though. It's gonna make team fighting a lot easier for them because he doesn't have to worry about like SD ulti. It's hard for Primal to grab him unless he blink jumps first. So I think it's a good pick for BetBoom, but I like Falcons better.
I think Falcons slowed down their draft a little bit with this Doom, and then them playing into Pangler means BetBoom actually have an insanely fast draft comparatively. If this Pango can rotate a couple of times to Beastmaster's lane and kick this Sven out, I can see BetBoom hitting a very nice tempo where they just like take all the towers, take all the objectives, and maybe choke Falcons out. But the side lanes look very strong for Falcons. I don't have a concern that they won't be able to fight back. They're just going to win slower and take their time in this game.
I also feel pretty good about the mid lane for Falcons because I feel like Mallory's going to cut the wave. He's going to get 6 before Pango. The Primal Beast already counters Pango. You grab him, it stops the roll. It literally stops it. And then the supports having free side lanes are going to come in, get all the runes for a Primal Beast who's already in a counter matchup. I feel like there's a pretty big outdraft. This is like 70-30 in my eyes for Falcons.
So if BetBoom is going to have a good game, who are we keeping an eye of? Who has to overperform here?
Pango.
Yeah.
Pango needs to rotate, like I mentioned, to especially Beastmaster's side lane. Like, bring the tempo to Beastmaster's lane, kick this Sven out of the top lane very early on, and then you can hopefully take over the map. But like I mentioned, it's gonna... Falcons are equipped with strong side lanes that will maybe fight back easily. So BetBoom have a lot on their shoulders in terms of enabling GPK and GPK enabling the rest of his team.
Yeah, what Mira said is exactly how BetBoom should look to win this game. Enable GPK, he goes top, help the Beastmaster, and like bring the game open.
All right, all eyes on GPK to see if they can make a dent in Falcons' armor here in game number 1 of this best of 5 grand finals. We are heading over to our commentary duo via the PogChamp Pandas.
I gambled, you lost.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this best of 5 grand finals between BetBoom and Team Falcons. Suns fan here with Cinderella Man at my side as always. how are you on this lovely day?
I'm a little bit worse than before you called me that, but I'm still good enough.
Okay,
So,
that's great to hear.
You will never go for that ever again.
Cinderella Man, I feel like that could catch on.
Yeah, for very few people, very few select people. Probably you. I bet Jenkins
All
loves
right,
it. because
Twitch
it's
chat,
stupid.
make sure that's what you call him for the rest of this game.
Nice little banner.
Appreciate that. As, yeah, we get some interesting picks. Miero gets his Beastmaster, which we've seen a couple times along with his Lycan, except they had to pick it. I don't know if they had to, but they picked it way earlier than they have.
This is the earliest they've picked his Summons hero in this tournament. I feel like it's been last pick every game that we've seen it.
Yeah.
Maybe fourth one time. But yeah, they're definitely changing things up a bit here, BetBoom.
Battle begins.
Can't say. I mean, this is often what happens when you get to the grand finals between two teams like this. They've played each other multiple times this tournament already. And the meta has obviously developed with them. There aren't really any major surprises in this draft, right? When you look at it, there's no like massive curveball hero that you wouldn't expect. Maybe the Doom is a little bit surprising for Amar, but it's not like the archetype hero for him makes a ton of sense, and it's against Void, so it's not really shocking. But what likely does happen over time in a best of 5 like this is the teams will adapt from game to game. So I think this is very normal. You start out slow, and then as strategies fail to reach their goals, you start getting a bit crazier down the line. So let's see who gets out with the upper hand here in game number 1. You, of course, think Falcons will absolutely run them over in every game. You have no hope in BetBoom at all.
We'll
BetBoom are here to prove you wrong.
I mean,
I feel like BetBoom are warmed up.
To be fair, let's just listen to our soundboards that we have for each team, and you tell me which one is underwhelming. Okay, that versus, like, there's no comparison, Cinderin, okay?
When you spam it that much, it doesn't even sound like you, actually.
We're going to be hitting that button a lot, I'm sure.
Yep.
But no, I think BetBoom, I've said this before, I feel like at their top, they're as good as anybody in the game right now. They have been. Even when Pierre was on the lineup, they had that potential. And at times they would show it, but it feels like it's always expected that they're going to drop the ball at some point. Like the panel talked about earlier, they were in the DreamLeague finals last year. They were up 2-0 and they ended up losing. It's like part of you feel like that's kind of expected on some level, you know? So I feel like they're kind of a monkey on their back to some degree, and they just got to get through it one time. I think that might blow things open for them. Obviously, Miero is the big difference on their team.
Say was saying that in the pre-finals interview, right? He was like, it would be really big for our confidence to win this. I mean, obviously, for any team, that's true, right? But I think especially for this team, I think it's very telling that he focuses so much on the confidence side of that. Because I think that's something they've been struggling with over the last couple of years, is that they know they're good enough. But when it comes to these like absolutely decisive games that make or break on lands, whether you get top 2 or in this case an online tournament, whether you win the whole thing, they've just generally, I think, dropped the ball is just fair to say, and I think they would agree with it. I think they agree with the criticism of them that the more clutch the game gets, the more likely they are to falter. And in this tournament so far, they've kind of overcome some adversity already. I think that's a very healthy sign.
And I will say, Falcons, I feel like there was a certain point of the BetBoom tournament, ironic, I guess, and most of the portion of this tournament where they look to be unstoppable in the fact that they're not really making mistakes. But I feel like in the last few series, we've seen some windows that they've provided their opponents. Like, there's a chance for them to pounce on it. And I feel like one advantage BetBoom has is they played a lot against Falcons between this tournament and the last. In fact, I think during that time, I wouldn't be surprised if they played them more than any other team. So I feel like they should have learned a lot from these games. See how they actually put that forward into the best of 5. Skeeter gets his patented Sven, of course. Feels
You
like
love saying that.
he absolutely loves this hero. And we've seen teams ban it against. Were you surprised to see that not get taken away? Because it's not like it was a first pick Sven either. It was in the second phase.
The thing about the draft order, how it works right now with the whether you get 1 or 2 bans in the second phase, there's a lot of things that you need to get through. So you can't ban everything. That's as usual case, but I think the first phase bans from BetBoom made a ton of sense. I don't know if they could have found the space for a ban in the second phase, because obviously other cores were getting banned out. And this time around, they're trying a different solution with the KB piercing stun and the Beastmaster. That is, however, against Disruption, which is considered one of the best spells against Beastmaster in general. So you did pick your poison here. So am I surprised the game Sven? Not really. If they lose to it again, if Skitter gets his 10th win in a row or whatever it is with this Sven, maybe you're going to do it for game 2.
Yep, a save in a bit of trouble. Blunt grenade. Is that going to finish him off? The right click from Snake King will suffice, and now it's a 2v1 as Miero has to back off a bit. I mean, I do like one thing about BetBoom, and I mean, we talk about the draft being so difficult against Falcons because they have all these flex. But if you're bringing out heroes like Lycan and Beastmaster, which again, the cast yesterday, we feel like they should have actually 2-0'd Falcons with that Lycan. But if you're able to make these heroes bannable potentially, that could open up the draft a lot for BetBoom as well, because Miero can obviously play all the meta offlaners like the DK, the Mars and whatnot.
Yep, for sure. The difference is this time around compared to the previous games where we saw his Beastmaster and Lycan run, I think he has a much worse laning matchup this time. He's still going to do fine, but the previous times we've seen it, it's been an outstanding game, so it's kind of where you're expecting him to do very well. I'm curious to see how things are going to go if they draw or even lose this lane, which, I mean, at the pace it's going right now with the first blood on to save, could very well be the case that Falcons just run away with this lane. And Beastmaster's a momentum hero. If you're not winning your lane, are you really, is the hero really serving its purpose? I guess we'll have to see, because I don't think he's going to win the lane at this rate. I think he's probably drawing it at best.
Yeah, in this mid lane, GPK 22-2 versus Mallory's 20-3, so very even thus far. Not much to write home about as of yet. But this bottom lane is something I do want to talk about. So Amar gets that last pick Doom, which we've seen be underwhelming at times in this tournament. And how do you feel this works in this draft for them?
I think it's good for a couple of reasons. I think when you're playing offlane Doom, I think it's very important that your team has other means of catch. Some of the problems that the last pick Dooms have run into is you play with a lineup that might not necessarily have the easiest time initiating fights, and I think Doom's job is 10 times easier in games when somebody else gives a vision. When you're drafted to, I need to blink Doom the carry to start the fight, a lot of the time that gets very difficult when you get into these like roche offs and smokes and all this stuff. But in this case, you've got the Bad Rider who can frontline for you. You've got the Primal Beast who can go in first. And that is going to show you the Void. That's when you go.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be you starting it, and it takes a lot of pressure off you. So I like it a lot more in this game than many we've seen. And I also think just the raw impact of landing a Doom in this game is massive. Like, Dooming Void is a full-on fight winner. So
yep, absolutely.
Should be happy.
And more thoughts about the Falcon, like the way that they actually draft. I mean, the Bat Rider could have been flexed, right? And the fact that we don't really talk about this too much as well, but the supports being flexed is actually pretty important as well, because we've seen Crit dominate on Shadow Demon. We did see Snake King play it yesterday to very good effect, his save. Not being able to get the blast off because of the disruption from Snake King. But just being able to interchange all these heroes just makes it such a task for each team when drafting against Falcons.
Man, these Techie's illusions are eating the board. So it's quite surprising how much damage those do nowadays.
But it is funny that we've gotten to a point where we're seeing these first pick supports, right? The Techies and the Shadow Demon. And speaking of Shadow Demon, blast off coming for Snake King.
Nice Stormhammer.
And the slows from the boar into the axes are finally enough. And that's the first kill on the board for BetBoom.
1K lead right now, looking very good for them. Worth keeping in mind about this matchup between the two teams, I would say across all the games we've seen in this tournament, Falcons the better comeback team. So I think if BetBoom on average in these games are going to get off to a worse laning stage, oh, nice arrow, then I would have more faith in Falcons pulling back games where they're in a bad spot. That said, though, yesterday BetBoom did have a really rough game one until they full-on turned it around with one team fight, but that also felt, how to say, on like more of a macro strategic level rather than outplay necessarily. In the game where Skitter was playing Luna against the Lifestealer of Nightfall. So
the onslaught's coming. Miero is the target for Malrine, but now trying to walk it off as there's a TP coming.
It get cancelled immediately though.
GPK forcing Crit back up. That's bottom lane. Amar, because of these rotations, is just dead. 1v2. Cannot to the damage here. And for his build, he did go for the Veiled Discord this time around.
Yeah. It's very good news for BetBoom if they're winning the Void lane. Like Void inherently not the strongest laner. Oftentimes will be bullied by specific offlaners that I guess aren't too popular right now. Doom definitely not one of them. So this is looking quite good for BetBoom so far. We know that Sven in many of Falcons' games has just pulled ahead by thousands of net worth around the 20-minute mark. But if Nightfall is doing this hot and they find like one good fight, I guess this is an interesting way of looking at it with Falcons. Right? Have they had a close game where it was like, oh man, Skitter really needs to clutch this in the late game? It feels like most of the time they've kind of just been owning it up around that mid-game part. So what if that doesn't happen?
Right, the first Doom of the game. Tries the TP. Not that that would have helped here, but damage is way too much. And actually that TP probably hurts him quite a bit as he has to walk now.
That's a pretty big mistake, actually. Amar is absolutely going to come in for an Infernal Blade there, and wasting that TP is going to cost him a wave of creeps at least.
Okay, we'll be able to snag the invis. As Malrine is forced away, but that is the use of the Rolling Thunder. So won't have that for the next 80 seconds.
Wonder if we're going to see Nightfall smoke to get to lane here, or he's just going to run down. He'll just walk normally. He has the Chrono, which I guess they would like to put to use. Oh, no, that was a short charge. The thing is, what combos do you have
with Chrono?
Yeah. You don't really have anything. I mean, you have a Swashbuckle.
Blast off, arrow.
Blast off doesn't even work.
An actually proc?
I think techies get stuck in the Chrono, right? Am I wrong?
You might be right.
I think so. I mean, I would imagine it works similarly to other flying abilities like Dawnbreaker ulti.
And there's definitely no wombo combo, that's for sure.
They can arrow, but that's not particularly much damage, it's just lockdown. So I think Nightfall's own farm is very important for finding kills. And not only is that a little bit of a worry, but of course Shadow Demon Disruption will always be a problem for him, so it does feel like there's some problems that they need to overcome. All right, Malrine's going to show himself to kill a courier and then back off. And the Beastmaster show begins. He has Storm. Going to start pushing this tower. Panel talked about Doom as a potential solution to this.
Yep, until the Overlord comes out, and then you have to wait for the talent on Doom to eat the Ancient.
Yep.
That's still a talent, right? I think it's 20.
I think so.
Be a while. Snaking. Gonna get gone on right now. Oh, 15 talent. All right. Arrows there. Should be an easy cleanup. Disruption will delay a bit. But eventually, they want to get the kill to Nightfall. He does find it eventually. Skeeter, I should say, actually showing himself.
Sabotaged by his own creep wave. If not for that, I think Nightfall actually doesn't get that kill. I think they have to give it to someone else, but he got blocked by the wave coming in. Time for the 10-minute power rune. Malrine on the money.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Not going to be there, but the shield rune ends up being bottom. That is a very good rune from Malrine if you can get to it.
Yeah, one of the best heroes in the game to get this on. Right in your face kind of hero. Massive strength gain, so it has a ton of health.
And more importantly, he looks really cool when it's activated.
Oh yeah, is it this cosmetic that goes gold? It is, right?
I believe so.
It looks like the upgraded BKB.
It's a bit blurst with his arms being a different color entirely, but that's Dota for you. Good stuff. So the tier 1 tower did go down for Miero and company. They're still sticking around waiting for potentially Skeeter to show up, but we can see on the minimap that nobody is remotely near.
I think, I don't know, I feel like this is kind of a waste of time. I think at this level of play, Falcons are not going to fall for this. I think maybe BetBoom are just going to brute force it. They have the Siege Creep Wave and the Beastmaster Dom. Maybe they're like, you guys have to come up here to defend.
And Toronto Tokyo actually breaks the smoke and leaps to safety. Snake King not really able to find an opening here, but we can see Falcons in terms of worth getting more out of the map right now. A lot of it had to do with the 3 heroes of BetBoom just chilling there. Snake King, he's gonna get gone on. This will be a slow kill. Arrow actually side step, Swash not enough. He'll walk away, surprisingly enough. Great juking from Snake.
Walked in a straight line.
Yep.
BetBoom will take mid tower, so opening up the map further. This is what Beastmaster wants to have happen, but like we talked about, it did give up the pressure on the top tier 2, and while all of this is happening, BetBoom are bringing a ton of resources to take these towers, and it is going to cost in the efficiency department, where both Sven and Doom are just completely free farming the map. So Falcons are very willingly taking this trade to get toward that mid-game timing that they're very well versed in when they're playing Sven. And I guess, you know, a lot of the games that we've seen with Doom, his laning stage has gone atrociously bad. I think that's a big part of why we've seen pretty weak results. Amar's having a great start.
Yeah,
his game is going, he's going to get farmed here. So this might not be your stereotypical group stage 2 Doom performance.
He's actually upgrading to Shiva right away. I feel like maybe we've seen that one time in the games that we've cast. Very rarely you go for that 2,000 gold recipe.
I think he has the luxury of not going Blink specifically because of his teammates though, right? Like you don't have to initiate like that with Doom when you have these heroes backing you up.
He might be in some trouble though.
Oh.
Unbeknownst to him, he's going to get backstabbed by BetBoom. Nightfall.
He is quite tanky. He's got 30 armor at the start, but no
Watch.
backup.
Looking to get the Doom off. Does he actually want to defend it? Doubt it at this point. He's just going to get destroyed. BetBoom get another valuable kill to the name. And that's going to give the Maelstrom for Nightfall. And we can see he's middle of the pack in terms of net worth. Bottom of the cores, but this Maelstrom will likely catapult him to the top 3 not too far in the future.
Yeah, the distance here isn't alarming yet. But it is, of course, Sven that is pulling ahead. It would be very alarming if he was not number 1 for the side of Falcons, but still going according to plan for them for the most part. But you're right, this is not the type of lead that is very scary for BetBoom to deal with. We need to remember that Faceless Void just has a thing for winning late game. So as long as you can get there, and let's not forget Beastmaster, for me, I find this hero quite different than Lycan when it comes to scaling. It's actually quite interesting. I feel like Beastmaster is clearly the better late gamer. You would think that Lycan, okay, he's more like right-click heavy, he has the wolves and everything, and he builds these like combat items. But a lot of the time in late game situations, Beastmaster can do a ton of damage. He'll have amazing utility. It's way better to have those 2 roars when you get refresher than having a shapeshift most of the time. Late game is often decided by who makes the first misstep, and Beastmaster's an amazing punisher.
And I will say the wolf bite, the small sample size, has looked terrible.
Yeah, it did nothing the 2 games they had it.
It has looked really bad, and that's 4,200 net worth being used on an ally.
I mean, it's a good point. Like, maybe the Lycan would have looked better if he bought another item.
Yeah, if you go for like the AC basher, like just right-click, perhaps it's Chris. So going in for the lasso, Skeeter is, wow, okay. That techies evaporates. And he will be able to get the tier 1 as well, but Swash being quite annoying for Mallory. And of course, GPK with the defusal as he's opting to go Blink next. GP's coming, so looks like they want to fight. BetBoom gets the inhibit onto Skeeter. Crit going in, but he actually gets stuck on the tree line. Rolling Thunder, but Disruption's going to save him for the time being, but he is completely surrounded. Skeeter is mega dead. Nice rotations from BetBoom, kind of catching Falcons off guard a bit.
That's huge for them. A lot of the games we've seen Falcons spend, they get this tower, and they just, you know, every God Strength has success. He would find the techies kill, he would get the mid-tower and go back to farming, but BetBoom say no. They immediately respond here. And there's no bigger hero to kill in this game than Sven. Like, for the foreseeable future, that is the biggest kill you can find. Even if he's not top net worth, he's still the best kill, just because the way the hero functions is so much about this staying on pace. Every death costs him probably 1,000 gold against the Void. You're not farming, the Void is, so this gap is going to narrow down. There's a big find there for BetBoom. They defend their tower. It's going to only be temporary, though. It's pretty low health. They will get it eventually, but still delaying things. Dagger coming up for DPK after this nice triple wave. He's
looking for the Doom. Obviously no Blink, but there's the onslaught from Mallory into the Pulverize and the Doom to follow. Save is there. Trying to hold them back a bit, but GPK is definitely dead, and Save spotted. That's going to be 2 kills for Falcons now.
And ironically, now GPK did not get his dagger because he didn't kill the ranged creeps. He specifically cast his spells in a safer way because he was worried he was getting initiated on. But now that he died anyway, if he had just killed the whole wave, he would have had his blink. So that sucks a bit. Toronto, Tokyo will get disrupted. No purge for the haste rim, though.
Toronto, Tokyo now with the mech. And yeah, Amar will be going for the blink. For the fact.
Radiant's middle tower
pretty
is under
standard.
attack.
This kill on the Pango bottom there is
Radiant's
really
middle
big, though.
tower has fallen.
Very much slows down.
This is a game that we're going to see the lasso onto Toronto. Gets off a leap, the mech as well, but now he's out of mobility. It's a matter of time. Crit gets credit for it. But this is definitely a Lincoln's game for BetBoom, I would assume. The Lasso, the Doom. I mean, even demonic. I mean, that's maybe the issue. Is there's a lot of single target for Falcons, but all 5 heroes having something that you'd like to block. Yeah. BetBoom getting into the pit. See if Falcons are aware of this at all. This is what, of course, Beastmaster provides you the opportunity to get an early rush.
Overlord creep, the dragon is quite tanky.
Life Collector, Syndra.
Oh,
Effect on your game, please.
Life Collector on the Doom.
That's right.
Fallen to the radiant.
And the Aegis will be reserved for GPK.
How much speed do you have on Doom when you use Scorched Earth and you have Light Collector? He's actually going to be hasted with this. That extra 10% and phase boots will be real quick during this nighttime. The mana regen is awesome, obviously, for Doom. He's just going to be able to spam his spells off cooldown if he wants.
You're really obsessed with this item. Is crit. It is bound, but blinks.
Mark my words, that item is getting nerfed badly in the upcoming patch in 4 months.
I think that's going to disappoint a lot of people if it's 4 months away. Oh, dear. If it's 4 months away, we better see 8 new heroes. That's what I'm saying. Lamar actually pretty close to the blink, so I feel like we were just talking about that. We'll have that mobility option now. And, I mean, that's the scary thing from BetBoom's perspective. They do have the Aegis, and they're going to start going for these Lincolns, but just look at Falcon's side. They have so many initiators.
Yeah.
Once his Ags comes online for Sven, like, pretty scary stuff.
Well, like you said, I don't even know if Lincoln's is that good. Like, maybe it's a necessary evil, but you have so many things that break it that you can kind of just overpower it.
Yeah, I think the play is Lincoln's into tier 5 Mirror Shield, which...
Right.
Is that even in the game anymore? Yes, it's Ex Machina that's out.
If you get to tier 5 neutral, you have a pretty good chance of winning the game, because then you have the Faceless Void 60 minutes in.
Yeah, that's true.
But let's get to minute 60 first, shall we?
Oh, we will.
I have my doubts.
We better get one 60-minute game in this finals.
Well, I think we'll get at least one. Okay, but I don't know if this is the one. We'll see.
Yeah, the Beastmaster makes it a little bit less likely. Well, yeah, there is. Yeah, almost there, guys.
Corner of the way.
Pretty close. The Tormentors will be up in 30 seconds. Falcons have been pretty good at being that team that goes for it relatively early.
Radiant's
will smoke.
I like the smoke a lot. I think this is a great timing to do it. At the end of the night here, if you find some kills top, perhaps you can transition to getting your Tormentor when you're already up here anyway. Falcons will not be caught off guard. Toronto is the one to break the smoke. Not ideal. Immediately blink away from a mark. There. I guess nothing's going to really come from this. Both teams aren't able to steal the Tormentor. Wisdom Rune 50 seconds away. Don't know if either team will be looking for that one either. Crit actually here, cutting the wave top very aggressively. Looks like he might be punished for it. If Nightfall Chronos, he will be dead.
Yep, and the Chrono will come. And the arrow to help Nightfall secure his kill. Now we'll see if they just take the Tormentor, since they are kind of grouped up here. Although Amar thinking about initiating here.
And doesn't have to worry about the Chrono now.
He gets scanned out. Very nice scan. BetBoom.
Maelstrom's Sange and Yasha Void. If this was Guess the MMR, I feel like Lacoste would be like, people in high rank don't buy its item. So this has to be Precious bounty. Just go to show context is very important. This is not a build most of the time, but against Doom and against the...
I mean, if you go back to TI where Thompson buys Diffusal on Gyro, like, you look at that and like, very low.
I mean, that does make sense though. Thompson is a legend. So
yeah, just in a different way. That's true. It does feel like BetBoom.
And you are ancient in both ways.
Don't remind me. But the Lincolns are being queued up on the side of BetBoom. And I don't know if that's what they're actually waiting for, because, I mean, their Aegis only has 50 seconds left. They don't really get that much out of it. As Crit will be walking
Spotted
over
by the mine.
Save is going to spot him for real this time. Unless Shadow is there as well. He will likely pulverize mid blast off. Techies. But still, tank gank, not too bad for your support to do that.
It didn't seem like he reacted to the first mine going off. I think he might have not noticed.
It's possible, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't know if you get out there anyway, so. Still staying as a stable 4K. The gold hasn't really changed much in the last few minutes, so you could argue this is good news for BetBoom. The Sven is not having this insurmountable lead that we've seen in a lot of games from Falcons. The upcoming 5 minutes feel like they're going to be deciding a lot. Will Skitter, once he gets this ad?
They want this dragon! They will get it.
Under attack.
Goodbye, Goof the dragon.
153 gold, very specific.
Dire are scanning.
Looks like the tier 2 is gonna be Falcons to take.
This is his eggs. All right. So Skitter will show up with, this is when it usually gets scary for the opposing team. Skitter is level 18 with eggs. They fight some sort of a good team fight. Skitter comes in, cleans up supports, and they build the fight up, and then they get the Roche. Let's see if the usual pattern for Falcons' Sven games will repeat itself. I do believe they...
And once they get to the confident in actually fighting. I mean, the fact that, again, the Aegis on BetBoom wasn't used in any capacity, really.
I just want to quickly mention how disappointing it is. He's 1 second slower than the average, which is probably himself half of these games, so...
Yeah.
Very disappointing from Skitter.
Oh, there we go. The shield rune on Malrine. Yeah, that looks good.
What's this Pokemon called?
I don't know anything about Pokemon, so I don't know if it's good.
Electrosaurus.
Okay. Oh, now what is it? It has a bubble. Better tanky. As Malrine has the Eternal Shroud, Blade Mail Blink, and Ags will be next. And in terms of breaking...
to keep looking at it. It's so bright.
Well, stop looking at it. If somebody says don't look into the sun, what do? You look into the sun?
Don't think of an elephant.
Okay, Malrine.
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
You don't know that book?
No.
Oh. It's not a movie, so you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, true. They make an adaptation to a movie, then I would have seen it.
Top tower is
6K lead for Falcons, so the lead growing slightly over time. BetBoom, and the fact that they smoked, perhaps they thought that Falcons were going to get a bit aggressive. But again, they take a tower here, a tower there, with that God strength.
Step by step, very methodical. They keep building the advantage slightly, but once again, not necessarily too worrying compared to most games we've seen from them with this Sven. This is probably in the lower third of advantages they've had minute 25. Chances for BetBoom, the worst. And we know Sven, for a fact, this hero, 1 or 2 bad fights, and everything can come crashing down. I also remember BetBoom played this matchup earlier in the tournament, the Void against Sven. They played it against Team Spirit, and were successful in that game. That was a bit of a mess, to be honest, from both teams that game. But BetBoom managed to clutch it out. I think that was over an hour in. It was actually that long of a Sven game. Just a bit ominous for this, but...
First Lincoln's up. This one for GPK. It's actually funny. Not only do they have a lot of single target spells, they have 4, is my count so far, that go through BKB as well.
Yeah.
That is not too common to see that many. So the BKB with the Lincolns underneath it, as it were, going to be maybe not even that effective.
It seems like a very deliberate choice from Falcons to build their Sven lineup this way. So that the one thing that Skitter can struggle with is if people BKB and kite him, but his entire team are just going to hold them in place so he can deliver.
Yeah.
And with a second Roche.
Yeah.
This is going to roar, though. right?
At some point. There it is.
Okay, half health.
That's a happy belch from Roshan. But we can see Falcons are on the way.
I think they want to take the fight after Roshan dies, actually. I don't think they're going to just back off from this smoke and do nothing.
That's the Aegis, and that's the cheese. Falcons. See if they stick around. It looks like that is the case. They put down a ward by the Lotus Fountain. Malrine. They're not going to be greeted by anyone.
BetBoom's not letting them have it.
Yeah, they just TP out en masse.
Nice hit and run. Clean Rosh.
Will they be able to use this Aegis now? I mean, my understanding from BetBoom's perspective, tell me if I'm wrong, they want to go ultra late. Like, Void is the best theoretical carry in Dota because of these double chrono potentials.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily mind, but it's still... I think they would like to use this Aegis to try to win a fight, and then they don't necessarily need to use that to high ground if they do win. But it feels a bit like a waste to have a Pang with Lincoln and Aegis and then not even try to fight with it, because it's actually quite difficult for Falcons to kill him twice.
Crit is spotted. Toronto Tokyo not going to be fishing with arrows yet. Here the ADHD on BetBoom's side. GPK spamming that ult. Again, no fight to come. I mean, when there is a fight, it's going to be a tasty treat for all. Other than the team that loses.
All right. Was that a prediction?
No. I needed to hear something.
All right. Was that your ADHD there?
Yeah,
you got inspired by the animation handling of the Pangirl. You're like, I can do this too.
That's right.
Yes.
And so with this Aegis, GPK and company actually crossing the river, potentially. Indeed, that is the case. But Falcons on the other side, reading them like a book. Not the book that you mentioned, because nobody's read that one.
When's the last kill?
It's been a while.
Oh, sentry.
Those are sentries,
That's
yeah.
good.
Observer.
Oh, that's what. So they killed Dave minute 24. Okay, it's only been 5 minutes. It feels like it's been 10.
Yeah, but I think Dave has been the only one to die in a long time.
Yeah.
As well. He's died like 3 or 4 times. And if you're Falcons, of course, you're just trying to dodge. As they get another tower to the name, and okay, Miero with his Black Dragon gonna at least poke here. Arrow gonna spot out the TP. Now the Aghanim Scepter on Malrine. Not sure you're getting any break that's crazy out of this. I guess the Inner Beast. Obviously just the damage is the big reason for it.
Break time lock, but...
Yeah.
I feel like most of the times when Primals get this, it's just a feel-good item. You get a lot of stats, you get more team fight damage. And then if it's a break, if it's a good break game, it's just the icing on the cake, but you don't necessarily have to have that. The Axe in itself is just that good. Orange.
DHD, GPK, ready to go. Looks like he's been ready for quite a while. Very anxious to get a fight going. I mean, what are they waiting for then? So he has his Lincolns. Void. So Nightfall opting, as we go to a pause now. Pause from the farming. Nightfall is going for Mjolnir and then Lincolns. Then he can fight Cinderin. And who else? Who else wants a Lincolns? Miero has the BKB. We'll be going for Assault next, which makes sense. Still less than 2 minutes to go on the Aegis. Yeah. Are they just happy farming? I mean, we've had games like this.
They did just smoke. You would think that this is not just a defensive smoke. Like they are looking for trouble, but Falcons is just dodging everything. They've not really been caught off guard a single time this game on the Dire side.
Yeah, and to be fair, it is typically Falcons that are the ones taking Roche. So yeah, normally with these Fen games, they have the Roche advantage. So it's nice to see the other side of the coin every once in a while. But when they're not using the Aegis in any capacity, I don't know. They have the Aegis, they have the cheese. Still a minute and a half. As GPK is working on his Aghanim Scepter. So because of the Lincolns kind of delays the Ags, which is going to be most of his damage in the fight. Now it's level 18. And if you're Falcons, are you looking for itemization like the Force Staff types or Halberds or whatever to break the eventual Lincolns?
I think so. I mean, Crit, correct me if I'm wrong, Crit already has it, right? Yeah, so Crit can do it himself. He can just blink Force Staff, lasso someone immediately. Doom will probably replace Speed Aura for Lincoln Breaker.
Yeah, he's done that the whole game, but that combined with the Light Collector, your obsession.
Yeah.
Ridiculous speed.
Just goes to show move speed is very good. You can move fast around everything. If you think about it, it's like the one stat in Dota that always is active, right? It's the one thing that matters for everything you do. Fighting.
You're hexed.
Well, it matters for fighting, it matters for farming because you move fast between camps, it matters for team movements, it matters for everything. So having high move speed, very, very valuable to get for free. Malrine will get the rock throw.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So that he can throw rocks. Very good descriptive title for that ability, the name.
Yep, that's, I think, a test for Valve to make sure that they can port Dota to mobile. Rock throw, you got to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, Slardar with sprint.
Yeah, got rid of that though. I don't think they were
they made
ready
the
for the
a little
mobile.
bit more elaborate.
Yeah, GPK, like the Pango Q could just be swashy, right? I mean,
That is
pretty
not descriptive at all.
I think it is.
That could be literally anything.
No, swashy is good. Toronto Token, I mean, his arrow, right? There's his ult. Just
It sounds like a
invis.
laundry detergent.
Yeah, swashy.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to go for their Tormentor as the Aegis is gone. And the Ag's coming very shortly for GPK.
I want to give a shout out to Toronto Tokyo. Did not die to the Tormentor this time.
Good job.
I was going to say it's a 50-50, but I think the Tormentor has had the upper hand.
All right, Cinder, I think it's time to talk
Okay.
about block of cheese.
Good one.
They're going to start collecting cheese here.
No, they're not. Oh, well, they're collecting cheese, sure, but they're not going to make the block.
No, the banner collection has been shown to be ineffective, so it's time to kill Roche Dire side every time and get those cheeses.
Do you know if the block of cheese barrier is purgeable?
I doubt it.
Because if it's purgeable, then it's irrelevant against Sven.
Cinderin, we're trying to hype up something here, okay?
Yeah, pick something else.
Block of cheese. Everyone's excited for it.
No.
Yes.
Clearly not.
Type cheese in chat.
You're the kind of person where somebody's like, make a wish, and then you wish for something that never happened. You know what I do? I wish for basic things, because then my wish comes true.
Okay,
and
what kind of basic wish are we talking?
Like, make a wish. It could be something like
I
oh,
hope I wake up tomorrow. That kind of thing?
okay, that's very something like, oh, I wish for, you know, I wish I get my favorite dinner soon, or oh, I wish I get a nice kiss today, you know, something like that.
I'm available.
And you're like, oh, well, I wish for it in the right context and with the right person.
Okay.
But
Fair
you know, you could, I bet you're like, oh, I wish for world peace, or you know, like good luck, you know. Not getting that.
Yeah, I think good luck is the best thing to have, actually. Skill doesn't matter in life. It's all luck.
Damn, these players.
Look how you got here.
These players have been really lucky.
Yeah.
I wish I was lucky.
Of course, it's all nepotism, you know? That's how they get on me. Oh, roar! Into the arrow, Skeeter. He's all alone for now. The Rolling Thunder applied, and he is gonna die.
A moment of weakness.
Malrine getting chased. Will get stunned by GPK. Nightfall is here as well. Has the chrono available. Do they need it? They're trying to kite him out a bit. Stun's still there. Crit actually keeping it there. Chrono, beautiful timing. Down goes Crit. Nice disruption for Snake. He's gonna delay this a bit. There's just so many heroes, but here comes the Mark. He wants to fight. He gets off the Doom in the middle of the time walk. Looks like Void's just gonna be able to walk it off. Now a buyback on the Skeeter. Has his God Strength available. Oh, gets beat. Void is just getting destroyed as he gets backstabbed by Skeeter, so the buyback is successful. Falcons and BetBoom absolutely sick of the garbage conversation, having it with a pick. All chat and news, and now the chase is on Miero. He takes out his courier with a casual right click, and here comes Skeeter. The roar comes out, but it's not going to matter. Miero dies.
My goodness, that is so clutch from the side of Falcons. I mean, the way this started out, yeah, nice bug, actually. It's like, how can you do someone mid-time walk? It should be impossible, right?
Yeah.
That's what Amar is triggered by. He still ends up getting the kill, but
that was strange.
it should not really be a possibility, I think, unless it's like on the frame.
Let's see. There he comes from the north very shortly.
Radiant's
He's
middle
broken.
tower has
Time
fallen.
walk number 1
Radiant's
into the
middle
chrono.
tower is under
This was
attack.
very nice. The destruction from
Radiant
snaking,
structures are fortified.
doing absolute work. And here you can see Doom at the top. Nightfall sees him. That is strange.
That should not be possible.
That is strange.
Because one of two things should happen. Either you get
They're going high ground, by the way.
walk,
We'll talk about mechanics after Cinderin. Tier 3
Radiant's middle
down.
tower has
And
fallen.
Skeeter, I don't know if they're going to stick around. God's strength is no longer there, so they'll be happy with the tier 3. Okay, you can talk now.
that follow-up play from Falcons to that situation, by the way, is exceptionally difficult to decide in the moment.
Yeah.
It's so
Radiant
such
are
a
scanning.
big decision to make that a lot of the times you're hesitant to make it because the risk reward can be really skewed in the enemy team's
Dire
direction.
are scanning.
If you buy back Sven there and don't find the key kills, it feels really bad. But they do find the exact heroes that they were looking for. They found 2 cores. They got to use the Pulverize to cancel the TP out from the Faceless Void. Malrine, I think, clipped him on the AoE of Pulverize from the secondary target. The buyback from Skitter does pay off. Of course, worth keeping in mind that death he had mid was honestly a bit of an uncharacteristic blunder for Falcons. He was just way out of position.
But he did
completely
use
alone in the
God's
middle.
strength. That's why the buyback was actually good.
That
This
is
hero
true.
sucks ass at buybacks a lot of the time.
Yep, fair.
So that ends up working out for Falcons somehow.
Double Havoc Hammer.
Oh, hell yeah.
Time to bring the hammer to BetBoom.
I like hammer time.
Yep. Give me another ninja gear.
Satanic for Skeeter very shortly.
And it's Roche number 3 time.
Yeah, okay. This
BetBoom.
is going to be the Aghanim Scepter. This actually provides some net worth for BetBoom.
Who did he give that to?
Well, GPK has his. Mieros doesn't feel very good.
Probably just
He's got his
avoid.
Nightfall. They actually don't have the greatest of ags here. Malrine going to spot Toronto Tokyo in the trees, but the rest of BetBoom still taking Roche. The lasso used as well as the Pulverize just to get one. Toronto Tokyo and company. Looks like everyone else is going to get out. Indeed. So BetBoom again taking Roche.
Really well
And that
played.
cuts the lead to 7K as the Ags was consumed by Nightfall.
That is the best death Toronto Tokyo has had all tournament, probably.
Dire's
That
bottom
was
tower
very, very
has
nice.
fallen.
Just giving all the information, buying them the time. They get the full Roche and the full disengage specifically because Mirana breaks the smoke and dies. Like that's about as good as it's going to type of impact you can have on position 5 this late into the game. Very well-timed and placed death will
Nightfall.
give them Nightfall top net worth now with that Ags infusion.
Yeah, that's nice. It's always nice. What is it? It's 6K, right?
Yeah.
Counts the synth, so
Yeah, should be.
pretty close to Lincoln's. Obviously doesn't really want to fight without that, but has the Aegis, so we'll see. I mean, he also needs Shard. It's actually pretty damn important for this Ag,
Yes,
I would say.
he should absolutely buy this next if they don't get the Tormentor
Radiant
And,
are
shard on him.
I wish we had that timer. Hopefully that's in the next patch in 4 months.
They are missing 3 shards, so he actually can't even get it.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He has to buy this after
I mean-
Lincoln surely.
GPK needs his Shard as well, surely. And he's buying it next as I say that.
Radiant
Okay, I think
has
that's
been
not
killed.
nearly as important as the Void one. Oh, his courier died. Amar killed the Lincolns.
All right, well,
It's so why is Amar there on his own? It's so wild.
it's true.
It's really wild. He had vision, of course, otherwise he will not be playing there. But even with vision, you're not safe against Moonlight, Shadow, and Smokes.
And you can see the strat from BetBoom is indeed the Lincolns. They're going for 4. Toronto Tokyo just starting his now.
Yeah.
And
Techi's
being able to apply
opting
that.
for the Lotus. I honestly think he could buy Lincoln too. I wouldn't mind.
Oh, okay, then it's 3. Because Miro's not going for his. He does get Ninja
Right.
Gear, though, which is incredibly
Radiant's
good.
bottom tower is under attack.
Best tier on Beastmaster for sure. You want to get the moment of the element of surprise.
And Nightfall looks like they want to fight. They actually want to do something with this Aegis. Feels nice and confident with that big, fat, juicy
Dire's
ogre.
top tower is
Golem.
under attack.
Who's now uppercutting the tower. Didn't know you could do that to buildings. Oh, Crit, he gets the lasso. Repositioning, kind of a big deal here. Can they burn through the Aegis? Lincoln's is popped. That's going to be death. Whoa! He gets off the time off the thing. The hammer comes in from Skeeter. Pops the Godstrip as well. Aegis down. Will they surround him now? Miero gets off the Doom onto Amar, and Nightfall pops the BKB and then runs away. Malrine gets stunned mid-animation, but the Doom applied to the Void. Amar still looking for that high 5 as Nightfall looks to be dead as the rest of his team will abandon him. So nice fight for Falcons, good defense. And it all started with the fact that Nightfall gets lassoed into the base. And remember, he's fighting without the Lincolns because the courier died. Makes a huge difference here.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you just don't do that without that Lincolns on you. Like, perhaps the difference is just too big. It feels like this could have... It's also clutch from Falcons. Like, if they mess up if they miss a beat here, they use the wrong spell on the Lincolns or whatever, this can go very wrong, but they're very coordinated and very prepared to take this kind of fight.
Crit spotted, bashed by the Swashi. They pops his BKB, gets roared. Mid-animation Skeeter trying to help his teammate out. That's going to be the first death. He gets saved by the destruction for the time being. He's actually alive somehow. And Sage is getting beat down by Skeeter. As Malrine with the rock throw, Amar jumps in as well. Focusing on Miero for now, he gets decimated. And now Toronto Tokyo in his own base is just going to get run down. This is all without the Faithless Void available.
Are fortified.
Yeah. Blows this game open. 19K net worth lead for Falcons. I have no idea how Crit lives there. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so clutch. The disruption, he comes out of it, he pops BKB and Yules to buy time, and he eventually survives the whole thing. Also, kind of question BetBoom even looking for that to begin with.
No, that's bad.
They didn't have their Void, and they were the ones to aggress, right? The Pango opened up on the bat. So they started out a 4v5, and they end up paying the price for that. That's going to cost them a lot. 2 buybacks on supports. They lost additional heroes.
No barracks, though.
Well, keep the base intact, but this lead, we were talking about how the 5K didn't really necessarily cut it for Falcons. 22 looks quite healthy to me.
Yep.
Especially considering, and a lot of these late game situations where Void can get really scary, you're still playing against arguably the hardest counter to your hero in late game in all of Dota. So it's not as clear cut as many of the other Void games we've seen in late game. Doom, if he has your number, you're going to have a hard time.
Yep. So they did end up getting the Ranger Axe, but nobody really cares about that. Aghanim Scepter, after all this fighting, Snaking was not even close to having this a few minutes ago, by the way.
Yep.
That is filthy.
5 SD now with this.
Yeah.
Wonder if we're going to see Snaking buy an Aether Lens and just play max range Lincoln Breaker. This could be a possibility. It's also great for the disruption save, of course. He already has the dagger for that. Amar will get the shard.
What do you think BetBoom could have done to itemize? Can they itemize any better? Because you have to go Lincolns. It feels like you need the BKB as well. And even with that, we talked about how many Lincolns breakers through BKB that they have on Falcons. It's absolutely absurd. Now you have 2 extra, or I guess 1 extra Shadow Demon Eggs.
The X factor is definitely the bat, because I think there is a world in this game where you don't buy any Lincolns. But I think the bat just is a big problem because of the displacement whenever you're looking to push. If you were just dealing with the Doom and the Pulverize, you could tank up your Void mega hard, get all the items, and get an Aegis, and then, you know, Falcons will struggle. But they're just pulling him into the tier 4s, and the fight is 10 times easier. And that is difficult to itemize against. Maybe 1 or 2 Lotuses were needed earlier than what they did. Obviously, Save has the right idea by getting one for the Faceless Void. You can put the Lotus on him, and he starts hitting the tower. It removes the lasso pull. But might have missed that timing now as Falcons looking for potentially the killing blow here, honestly. If this goes well,
they're scanned
right next to the enemy base.
Yeah, BetBoom are aware.
Skitter's going to go to work here.
Most likely. Smokes will collide here in just a moment. Save. Glimmer. Right, some vision. Skeeter in the base now. Will get this Rax for free. See if they try to run away. GPK in his ult. We'll get the stun up onto Malrine as Nightfall is now surrounding him. Arrow is going to connect. Do they have the damage? He's so tanky. And there's the disruption from Snaking as the Ancient Creep destroyed by Skeeter. That kind of breaks things up a bit. But remember, that is God Strength down.
Yep.
So Falcons probably do not want to fight, but this opens a window potentially for BetBoom to try to chase, but not really opting to do so this time around. And we'll know about Roche in 30 seconds as well. As okay.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Good. Good stuff. No longer can deny as the smiley face with a double chin comes out from Amar.
Extra parentheses. Guess they have a bit of a
I mean, if there's anybody you can tilt, it is BetBoom.
I think it's because of Toronto Tokyo's all chat against Damar yesterday. That's really what they're trying to get him back
Does
for.
he really need a reason? As Roar comes out, but the disruption to follow, and here comes Superman Skeeter. You can see the demonic purge breaking the Beastmaster right now. But he is able to TP out, surprisingly enough. The Doom again, this time reserved for the Void. Nightfall dead for 90. GG. That is the GG for game number 1. So Falcons take the first one of this Best of 5 Grand Finals. And it felt very methodical the whole game. And then once BetBoom were ready to fight, they just get crushed. I mean, that high ground where they tried to actually do something